In today's video, we have two massive leaks to go over. One leak is on the Final Fantasy VII Remake that is revealing a lot of information. If this leak is true, and there's a lot of depth to the details, so that leads me to think that a lot of this has to be true. We have a lot of clarity on what to expect out of the game. The fact that the game is going to be 2 parts, which I think is pretty reasonable, considering I was speculating on the fact that maybe it'll be 3 parts, and there's a lot of other information. I'm not going to go through everything because there's a lot of spoilers attached to it as well, but I'll leave a link in the description box down below if you want the entire rundown. Also, Watch Dogs 3 is one of those games that I think everybody is expecting it to be announced at E3, but now we have some clarity on the background on the story, if this rumor is also to be believed, and a brand new PlayStation 4 exclusive has been announced. You might have missed this one. It's a throwback 3D platformer as EFFIE is coming to the PlayStation 4 on June 4th. More on that game at the end of this video, but let's first talk about all of the rumors regarding the Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's so much to go into, and again, we are going to keep out some of the details because there's a lot of spoilers, but the game is said to be, in fact, 2 parts. Part 1 is said to end at a very iconic moment in the game. Just based on me saying that, you could probably piece together what moment that is if you've played this game in the past, but I'm not going to get into it anymore since, again, spoilers. Materia is shown in almost all weapons. They do not appear in accessories, nor do accessories appear on your character model. Different weapons will, however, appear on your model. For example, Rune Blade will be on Cloud's back if equipped and exploring. Different weapons have different triangle heavy hits, and that does not cost an ATB charge. Buster Sword has Punisher. Rune Blade, for example, has Cleave. Using magic will consume ATB along with MP. You get more bars as the game progresses. Seems like standard gameplay mechanics that I think we've come to expect. Summons will work for the most part as cutscenes like the original. They do not fight with you on the field, and there is one new summoning, and I won't go into more details on that. The overworld map is probably something a lot of you guys were wondering how they were going to work that into a modern game. Well, it's said that the overworld map is almost seamless. There are some zones. There will be roads and methods of transportation. It is open world. Vehicles like the Tiny Bronco work almost exactly the same, only being able to go in lighter water. There will be items available occasionally on the field. Chocobos will be obtainable as you progress through the game as well. It's said that they've really made an effort to make each town feel lived in and feel like there is a reason why each place is like the way it is. Each town is very unique from the last. Cosmo Canyon has its occasional dust storms, are a stark contrast to the streets of Midgard. Upper Junon feels very much more like a military installation than Midgard as well. There's a lot more information in the description box as well, and they even go specifically on some details about the story, so I don't know if that's something all of you guys want to look at. Obviously, I imagine a large portion of you already played Final Fantasy VII and you know the nuances of the story, but based on what I'm collecting at this point, it does seem like that the game will be adding some elements. There's still some uncertainty as far as how the game will be released and what type of content we expect. Are we gonna get content that was present in games like Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core, the spin-off titles? Well, Crisis Core is really an integral part to the story, but you guys get the idea. There's still a lot of questions, but this leak does give us some clarity, and again, the game is said to be released in 2 parts, and yes, each are full games and will be, in fact, priced at $59.99 if this leak is to be believed. That would mean that the entirety of the game would be $120, which I think is a lot more palatable than, say, the game being released in 3 parts and being $180. Yes, it still sucks. $120 for the entirety of a JRPG. That's quite expensive, but do keep in mind that Final Fantasy VII is a massive game, and if they're truly trying to recreate everything with modern visuals and modern tech, that is a massive undertaking, and I can see from a business side of things where Square Enix has been putting out some games that have been hit or miss. I point to games like Left Alive, Quiet Man, and some of their other bigger budget games. I mean, even Just Cause 4 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Final Fantasy VII Remake is pretty much a slam dunk home run that you know that this game is going to generate you a lot of revenue, so why not split it up into 2 games and generate the most revenue you can? I guarantee you that the majority of people are still going to end up buying both games at $60 a pop, but let us know. We're definitely interested to hear from you guys. Does that push you away in wanting the Final Fantasy VII Remake, or is this a case of you being so excited for the game that you'd pay $120 for the entirety of the experience? Who knows, maybe they'll do some sort of bundle where you can get both copies for $90, maybe they'll have a digital discount. There's a lot of things that they can do, but I think if you're going into the release of the Final Fantasy VII Remake expecting to get it for $60, you will be sorely disappointed. And do keep in mind, games these days, yes, they're priced at $60, but with all the DLC, all the microtransactions, You really have to consider the fact our games are really $60, so I offer you that. But again, link in the description box down below if you do want all of the information, some story spoilers present. Alright, moving on from that, Watch Dogs 3 is another game that many are expecting to see an announcement very soon. I have been speculating on a Watch Dogs 3 announcement at E3 for quite a while, and I do think the game is going to be released this year, and a new leak that was shared on Reddit is pointing to that as well. It's pretty detailed, so I'm led to believe that it's true, but let's go over it. Set in London, and the main character is a young lady named Sarah. She is half Asian and half English. She works for a counter-terrorist organization in a branch that specializes in stopping cyber attacks. She is tasked with infiltrating a hacker group, bringing their operations down, and finding out who is in charge. You won't be able to use weapons like guns or knives, but instead batons, lasers, and other non-lethal weapons. Parkour is making a return from Watch Dogs 2, and it's been revised so it feels more fluid and natural. You can also skateboard and graffiti. Side missions include finding drug dens and getting them shut down, as Sarah has a strong dislike for them as her brother died from a drug overdose. Set in the near future, and the city will feel a slight more cyberpunk than other games. Mobs will form and riots will begin. You can either take part in them or shut them down. The game will be teased 2 weeks before E3 and have a full gameplay reveal at E3, and will be released in November of 2019. It seems so specifically detailed that I'm led to believe that it is true. Again, still take it with a grain of salt. I do think Watch Dogs 3 is coming this year. I think that is a formality. Given the fact that Ubisoft is taking off of a brand new Assassin's Creed game this year, I imagine that Watch Dogs 3 is the big budget open world game that they will be releasing this year, and I'm very excited for it. I know a lot of you guys didn't check out Watch Dogs 2, and that's kind of depressing, because Watch Dogs 2 was such a terrific game. It was such a substantial improvement over the first Watch Dogs, and bear in mind that now when Watch Dogs 2 goes on sale on the PlayStation Store, you can get it for like $9. There's a lengthy demo available as well. If you've yet to check out Watch Dogs 2, please check it out. If you like the premise of the first Watch Dogs, but maybe some of the mechanics put you off, Watch Dogs 2 really refines it, makes it a better game, and I give it a strong recommendation. Alright, and lastly, I also want to mention that the 3D platformer EFFIE is coming to the PlayStation 4 on June 4th, and this is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, a game that a lot of people aren't talking about, but a very charming platformer. And there's an in-depth post over on the PlayStation blog from game developer and Inverge Studios, the development studio behind the game. Javier Garona spoke on the game, and he said this: "Well, we all have fond memories of those classic 3D platformer PlayStation games, so from the beginning we had a clear goal. We wanted to make a classic PlayStation video game with modernized graphics telling a new story. In this fantasy tale, you play as Galen, a young man who has been cursed by a wicked witch with premature old age. Galen sets out on a quest to recover his youth, but he won't be traveling alone. He'll have the help of a powerful magic shield, which will be his weapon, tool, and even his means of transport. The adventure takes place in the Red Plains of Oblena, a distant land recognized for its distinctive red vegetation. In this vast world, you'll be able to visit distinctive locations, including a windmill city, ancient temples, or even a city dedicated to grape juice production with huge barrel buildings. These aren't things you see every day." And it was noted that although EFFIE is a 3D platformer, it's not 100% linear. Once you arrive in the open world, you can visit any of these settlements freely, but the gameplay becomes linear when you enter one. This caused more than one headache to design, but it's your adventure, and we wanted you to decide where your next stop would be. He also noted that during the adventure, you'll be able to strengthen your shield and give it new skills. Eventually, you'll be able to use it to do light and heavy combo attacks, charge attacks, dashes, double jumps. And as you can see, it's capable of many things, but just because you own a magic shield, don't think that everything will be easier. He concluded by saying, "I won't tell you everything about the game. I'd prefer you to discover and enjoy it for yourself. If you have any questions about EFFIE, you can write us in the comments below in the PlayStation blog post," and they said that they'll be happy to answer. It is coming exclusively to the PlayStation Store and PlayStation 4 on June 4th. Pretty interesting game, and I see absolutely no one talking about it, so I wanted to bring some attention to that title. With both the talk on Final Fantasy VII's Remake and Watch Dogs 3, we'll get some official information come E3. That's 100% guaranteed. We know that Final Fantasy VII is going to be the big game at Square Enix's E3 presentation. Not necessarily sure if they're going to have a dedicated conference, or it's going to be like last year where they just have a pre-packaged video ready to play. Whatever the case may be, we'll get a ton of information on that come E3. And Watch Dogs 3, I imagine, is one of the major reveals Ubisoft is prepping up at this point. Remember that they've got 2 other games alongside that are said to be major releases, and both of those titles are set to also come by March of 2020. So I think Ubisoft might end up surprising a lot of people come E3 with Square Enix, as long as they show off substantial Final Fantasy VII information and we get some gameplay of some of their other projects. I think they'll have a pretty good showing as well. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, we're getting a lot of leaks on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. A lot of clarity and official information will come the E3 conference, but that leak had a sizable amount of information, and honestly, I see a lot of validity to it. Link in the description box below, but just be warned of the spoilers, and it's pretty spoilerific, so just be warned of that. Watch Dogs 3 is probably gonna be announced at E3 with the official gameplay reveal. A leak was shared on Reddit a little while ago, and it seems pretty interesting, and with all the detail, I'm led to believe that as well. And the throwback 3D platformer in EFFIE is coming to the PlayStation 4 on June 4th. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.